In this last legislative session, we passed a Justice Reinvestment Act. It was a bipartisan, hardly negotiated with Democrats and Republicans to reform our justice system. We talk about lowering recidivism, talk about second chance for people that want to put their lives back on track, things that a lot of Republicans don't usually talk about. We're making progress, but you can't fix all the problems of urban America in a short period of time. It's taken more than 50 years to get to this part, but we're doing everything we can. We're investing record numbers in education, job training programs. I just put $100 million into the city of Baltimore for blight removal. We've got 19,000 empty row houses there that are, not only an eyesore, but a hotbed for crime and drugs.
What we are trying to do, and which I think all of us as governors, our goal is to help our states grow. How do we create more and better paying jobs? How do we keep our kids and grandkids in our states? How do we attract people to come to our states? And with 3% unemployment, we've got different challenges. So, for example, one of the things we did is we changed our unemployment system into a reemployment system. And by that I mean is everybody who's applying for those benefits sits down with a jobs coach first and creates a resume. And not only has that resume to go out and look for a job, but that resume is now searchable online so that companies can proactively reach out and say, hey, you've got the skills I need. Would you take a look at this job? So that's one of the ways we've been innovative, trying to connect job seekers with the employers who have those jobs. And it's also important that we're providing a higher level service. Because of the way the U.S. government collects the data, we don't have the data yet to show that the people are actually spending less time on those benefits, that they're getting jobs faster. We hope to be able to collect that data. But that's important because one of the things we know is the longer that you're unemployed, the more your job skills degrade. So we've got to try and get you back into the workforce as quickly as possible. But one of the things we do know that even though in the first 5 months of this year, we've taken our benefits up about $12 a week, $12 a month, so we've increased the amount of benefits, and our unemployment rate has actually ticked up from 2.8% to 3%, we actually have reduced the amount of benefits we're paying out by $6.7 million, and it's so about 15%. At the same time, across the country on average, benefits paying out have gone up about 1.2%, or about $172 million. So while we don't have quite all the data we'd like to show that this is actually helping people get back to work faster and being innovative how we connect people, that's one of the things we're doing. And that's really one of our challenges in Nebraska. I said better paying jobs. Our average wage is actually below the national average. So we're trying to think about how we improve that statistic. And just in general, and this applies to everything, including our reemployment program, how do we do a better job of delivering services? I believe that's why the people of Nebraska hired me, to bring my private sector experience to making government more effective, more efficient, and more customer focused. And by doing that, we will actually help the job creators out there do a better job. I mean, Nebraska right now, Forbes last year ranked us the third best state to do business. CNN ranked us number 7. So we are trying to work on developing a culture in state government that we are working to help create those jobs with businesses so that they can expand and help hire more Nebraskans and ultimately help companies expand in Nebraska, draw more people to Nebraska, because at the end of the day, we've got to hold on to our young people and draw more people to our state because of that 3% unemployment rate.
I focused on things like programs like Fostering Success, implemented, pioneered something for how we have all these hundreds and thousands of young people in our states who at the age of 18 are coming out of the foster system and being dumped out into society with no backbone or no bench of support, I should say. And these poor kids are lost. They've never had a family. They have no support network. They now have nothing. And they statistically are vulnerable. And these young women are going to get pregnant early. These young men are going to, and women alike, are going to invariably end up on the wrong track and end up in prison at high proportions. So what are we doing about that? This isn't a Republican or a Democrat issue. And so we set up a program where we literally brought these students that were between the ages of 18 and 23, not students but young people who had aged out of the foster system, were now on their own, and we did two things. We created an employment program both with the state government and with private employers who brought them on board with a 10-week program where they were given jobs where they were paid $10 an hour and they were taught how to show up on time and how to dress, and we gave them financial literacy courses and we gave them opportunities. More than 60% of these kids have now gotten full-time employment as a result of this. There was a second part to this. We brought families. We reached out to families like us, and said, would you be willing to be a mentor to these kids? Would you be willing to take one of these young people with no legal or financial obligation, but a willingness to be a mentor and to help them? Would you be willing to come alongside these young people, invite them to your house on Thanksgiving, help them to figure out how to fill out a job application, help them decide between two choices that they have to make, whatever the case may be? We hoped for a couple of dozen. We worked with an organization, Orphan Care Alliance, and some others to create training programs for the couple dozen families we hoped would sign up. We've had hundreds. It's going to transform our state. I introduced something called the Red Tape Reduction Initiative. If you want to learn more about it, go to redtapereduction.com. I encourage every state, red, blue, and otherwise, to do the exact same thing. We have more than 4,500 pieces of regulation that affect business in our state. And I'm quite confident that we can thoroughly regulate business with, say, 3,000. And so to that end, I literally have committed to the fact. I've noticed most of the laughing's over on this side. I don't know if that's it. But in all seriousness, I mean, I'm committed to, and I've said publicly, we are going to remove 1/3 of the red tape in Kentucky that affects business in the next 3 years. And we will do it. You watch Kentucky move. We will get that done. These are the types of things that I've been moving on. You know, this and expungement. We passed an expungement bill. We are leading on the fact that we have a tremendous divide in our nation. And again, we talk about it politically. I encourage you to ask yourselves, and I appreciate that there's young people here too. For those of you who have brought young people here, you have children, you have grandchildren, whether they're here or not. Why are you here? Why are you here? Why do you care about this? And how badly do you care? Because there is a divide, and it's more than anecdotal. There is a divide in America, ideologically, financially, and otherwise. And we are becoming fragmented. And the fabric of America and the many threads that comprise that fabric are being shredded one at a time. And they're being pulled out, and that fabric is being twisted and torn. And we have individually and responsibly, collectively, a responsibility to fix this. We do. And so, frankly, we have this recidivism with our prisons. We have people who make bad choices, increasingly drug-related, when they're young, and they get on a track where they're basically screwed for the rest of their life. And we, as a responsible government, have a responsibility to find a way to find solutions to that. And so we passed an expungement bill that gives people for nonviolent felonies, for people where there is no victim, where restitution has been paid, where service, where their prison terms have been served, to have the ability to have their rights restored to them, to have their ability to not have to check a box saying they're a felon, so that they can become integrated and become a part of society again.